Are you feeling anxious? Your mind is racing, you're having hot flashes, you're waking up in the middle of the night, or you're just feeling very sluggish? This is not random. That's your dosha. And modern medicine is finally catching up to why it matters. Ayurveda mapped this 5,000 years ago, and doctors are now measuring up to it, proving it to be true and correct. With mindfulness and meditation and lifestyle changes, all the things that didn't exist just about a few years ago, because everything had to be proven. Stick with me, and by the end of this video, you'll know your dosha and why I build every consultation and yoga practice I teach around it. If you're new here, everything that I do, from the consultation to creating a yoga practice, comes from one root system, Ayurveda, not as a wellness trend, but as a complete 5,000-year-old science of mind and body. And the reason why I can tie the yoga practices back to the Ayurvedic consultations is because they come from the same philosophy, which is the Samkhya philosophy from the Rig Veda. Samkhya is one of the 6 classical schools of the Indian philosophy, and the theoretical foundation belongs to both yoga and Ayurveda as sister sciences. Samkhya maps through about 25 principles that we'll cover later, because it's a little bit too much to cover all in one video, but it's basically from the higher consciousness all the way down to understanding why the 5 elements matter and how they all come together with the 3 gunas of Rajas, Sattva, and Tamas. You don't need to memorize all 25 today. What matters is that Samkhya says that your mind and body are made up of the 5 elements, just as everything else in nature: earth, water, fire, air, and space, the 5 elements. Ayurveda takes these 5 elements and breaks them down into these 3 categories called Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So let's get practical. There are 3 doshas, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, and everyone is a mix of all 3 of them. 3 doshas, including the 5 elements. Everyone has their own unique formula in their own ratios. So first, I want you to just take a look at this picture here and see the 3 different body types: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Let's start with the Vata body type. This Vata constitution is predominantly characterized by movement. These people tend to be slender built and active body functions, such as very quick speech, spontaneous movements. They can't sit still. They're just always fidgeting and moving around. So that's why they need regularity. They usually forget things very quickly. They see things, they learn it very quickly, but they forget it quickly too. They have cool skin. You can actually see the tendons and veins sometimes in them because they're so skinny. They have brittle, dry hair. They have brittle nails, thin nails. They're very lean built, delicate joints. Usually they're very tall and slender or very short and thin. Their sleep gets easily disturbed, and their eyes and limbs are always moving. They're very talkative, very fast. Sometimes these people can drain your energy too, but they don't know that, but they just continue to keep talking because they just have so much energy. They're light, they're air and space. So they keep on moving. The middle person is characterized by heat, and it's a Pitta mind and body type. They're very ambitious minded, a very sharp intellect. They usually have an athletic body type. The build is very muscular and they're in shape. They have intense body functions such as active metabolism. So they get very hungry very quickly. So it's best for them to eat before they get hungry. See, the first one, the Vata dosha, they don't know. Even if they're hungry, they just keep talking and they forget to eat, and then they're hungry and everything's very irregular for them. But the Pitta, they're on time. They have a schedule and they need to be eating so that they don't get hungry and cranky. They're hot-headed. They're very elegant, though. They will show up beautifully and perfectly. They have well-defined muscles. They love to work out. They love to go hiking and outdoors and photography and luxury and beautiful things, everything that has some kind of logical system and process and is very organized. They like to be very organized because they like to know what's going on, because they like to be in control. And when they're out of control, they get very irritated and frustrated and angry. And if they're hungry and angry, they get hangry. Then the last body type, the structure is characterized by the Kapha body type, has a very sturdy build. and a slow working body functions. So the metabolism is much slower than the first two. They can eat, but because they're not exercising as much or they're not moving as much, things tend to just hold on. These people make the best nurturers, caretakers. They're your best friends. And when they give you a big hug, oh, you feel like you can forget the world. And because they're so nice and friendly and very nurturing, but on the other side, they can hold grudges and they're not very happy people when they do that. Kaphas tend to go towards depression. Vata tends to go towards anxiety. Kapha tends to gain weight very quickly, and losing it is not so easy for them. So they really need to be pushed in getting onto a schedule. They'll usually make promises and won't keep at it because they have a very high tolerance level and they usually don't have too many problems with their body till one day because of the tolerance level. They can keep going and going and going as they are. Very strong. Out of all these three, the kapha is the strongest. And usually these people, when they're younger, they may feel like they're very heavy and things like that. But as they get older, these are the people who don't age. They're the ones who have nice, beautiful skin. And you look at them and go, how'd you do that? Because they have natural oils in their system. Here we look at the 5 elements of earth, water, fire, air, and space at the bottom. And these are combinations that come together and form Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So Vata dosha, you can see why they would be ungrounded and they can talk a lot and forget to eat because that's air and space. They're a little spacey. They become ungrounded. So they need the opposite to be grounded with heavier things like Kapha. And if you look at Kapha, they're naturally heavier. It's the earth and water coming together. So the season that it depicts is like winter months when it's very sluggish and dense and it's foggy. So the brain becomes like that too. You become dense and heavy, so it tends towards depression. And Vata goes towards anxiety because it's just spinning out of control. These are imbalances. And the middle one is fire and water. So you may ask, how does fire and water come together? It's like your blood system. That is one of the key characteristics of a Pitta dosha. It is your blood system. It is the ability to see things and process them. All 3 doshas have different characteristics in the way it digests food. The digestive fire we call Agni is different for Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So if you ask about how is their digestion, they're going to tell you, sometimes I'm hungry, sometimes I'm not, I just don't know. They forget to eat, and then they have stomach problems, they get stomach aches, and they have bloating, and they don't know what's going on. Then you've got the Pitta person who has a very good metabolism. They can metabolize things very fast. One of my friends, she says, I can even eat cardboard. She probably could if she had to, but I don't want her to try it. Pitta dosha needs to eat before they get hungry. Otherwise, they become hungry and angry at the same time. You don't want that. So they need their regular schedule. They need to eat before a big meeting or something big is about to take place and not to go too long. If you're in a meeting, a kapha dosha can sit there and everybody's hungry and they'll just keep talking and going on and on and on because they have high tolerance. Their metabolism is very slow if they haven't walked around or they ate a big breakfast or they ate a very large meal. It doesn't digest very quickly, so they have to exercise. They need movement. And that's why we see this in our society today, where people are sitting at their desks all day long and they're gaining weight around the midsection of their bodies. That is a kapha accumulation. And also accumulation is just not fat. We also look at the lymphatic system. There's so many things to talk about, but I'm going to stop here as far as the doshas are concerned so that we can move on and you can understand how to find your dosha. And then we're going to discover more things together and we'll explore the different tissues of the body and things like that. Just looking at the 3 doshas one more time as the body types, now that you understand how the elements work, air and space, when it comes together, Vata dosha in an imbalanced place experiences insomnia, anxiety, racing thoughts, irregular digestion. But in a balanced place, they're very creative, they're quick thinking, they're spontaneous, they're the life of the party, and they can adapt very well, very quickly. The Pitta person, when they're out of balance, they have inflammation, irritability, frustration. They get burnt out very quickly, literally burnt out because of the fire, and acid reflux. In a balanced place, they love to set goals and go for it. They're sharp and their intellect is on fire, literally. Their leadership skills are awesome. They can take anything and make it better. So they can take organizations, take administrative roles in companies, and take it to the next level without any problems because they love a challenge. The Kapha person in a balanced place is very nurturing, caring. They love to just eat and hang out and not do anything and just have fun. But in an imbalanced place, they get sluggish, they have brain fog, they have weight gain, and a resistance to change. But if that is your friend, if you have a Kapha friend, they're going to be steady, loyal, and always grounded for you. And whenever you need them, they're always going to be there for you. So going back to what I said about modern medicine earlier, in Ayurvedic terms, we might say we're balancing Vata dosha 5,000 years ago. Today, it may be the clinical doctors say that we're balancing the sympathetic nervous system. Different language, but same target. For years, Western medicine has treated symptoms as separate systems. Everything is symptom based, it's clinical, has it been researched yet? And then they give a solution. Ayurveda, it looks at it from a common sense aspect as well as understanding that these are the doshas, these are the elements at play. And is it heat? Is it cold? What's happening in the body? Such as an x-ray, and somebody says, I have a stomach ache. The doctors are not going to be able to find anything there because it's probably gases moving, air and space. It's a Vata issue. Today, they're including mindfulness and meditation and yoga and breathing and all these beautiful things to bring on a better lifestyle, because the biggest problem in our society right now is what? Lifestyle. People are sleeping later, they're waking up later, they can't stay up at work. The younger people don't want to work because they don't understand a system around when to go to work and when to come home and how to eat, because everything is just 24/7 now. So we as humans are having a hard time understanding, when do you sleep? When do you wake up? How do you regulate your nervous system? That's the biggest problem right now. This is exactly why I make sure that I include the yoga plans with the Ayurvedic plan, because they all come together beautifully. If you're a Vata dosha, I'm not going to hand you a stress plan for a few days. We're going to go into what's happening to your body, slow it down, regulate everything, such as having regular eating schedule, making sure that you're sleeping at the right time, making sure you're getting enough sleep, making sure you're oiling your body, you're taking enough oils internally because that's grounding and nourishing. As opposed to a Kapha dosha, if they come in, they need more stimulating. See, Vata needs slowing down because they're air and space, they're all over the place. Kaphas are already grounded because they're sluggish, they're slow, they're bigger, they need more movement. And a lot of times they'll say, yeah, I'll go to the exercise class and I will move and I will do this. They come back in and they haven't done anything because they don't need to change. They're fine. They're just happy-go-lucky people until something really bad happens to them. And then they're like, oh my gosh, my doctor said I have really high cholesterol or my heart or something like that scares them. Then they go on and they want to change things. But the Pitta person, they're usually ahead of the game, or they've burnt themselves out so much because they kept forgetting to take care of themselves. They kept putting themselves last because there was so much to do and they needed to finish all these things because it has to be perfect. You know those people? They have this perfection quality and they want to finish everything before they get to the next thing. If they're getting sick, they're like, oh, let me finish all this work and then I can get sick. No, you need to take care of yourself. So they need cooling because they're so hot. Not taking spicy food, sour foods, acidic foods, staying away from all of that. They get acid reflux, they get rashes on their body, they get all the heat related problems. So depends on who it is how we design the protocols for them, their lifestyle, the foods that they eat, how they manage themselves throughout the day and night, how they think, how they breathe, what meditation to do. It's not a one size fits all. It is different for all three doshas. And yes, people are combinations of these doshas. We also have to be mindful about that. Which combination is it? Is it Vata Pitta combination? Is it a Pitta Vata combination? Is it a Kapha Pitta person, or is it a Vata Kapha person? There's a lot of different moving elements in this. So Coming to a practitioner and getting a consultation is very helpful in really understanding why you may be waking up at 3 a.m. And when you get to that perimenopausal time, again, the time of life is also Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. When you're a child, when you're a baby, it's a Kapha time of life. Without going too deep into this, but when you're in the middle time of life, that's the Pitta time of life, when you actually have to go out there with the drive and the fire and the motivation to get married or not, or have children or not. Where are you going to live? What kind of career will you have? How will you pay off the bills? Which kind of job are you going to have? Which career are you going to progress in? What does success look like for you? And then you do all of that. And then when that time is finished, then your children may have grown up by now. You are at the time of retirement. Now you're moving into the Vata time of life. So there are different stages of life as well that we design your program according to that. So which one sounded like you? Vata, Pitta, or Kapha? Drop it in the comments below. And if you would like to have a full assessment done for yourself, that's exactly what I do. The link is in the description to book. So if you stayed this long and you're enjoying this, please do subscribe. And I will be making more videos on many more things about how the tissues in the body breaks down. I'll be breaking down the Samkhya philosophy and everything Ayurveda, how it shows up in your daily life, your relationships, and how you create your life from here on out.